we have special guests because we're doing a special episode this week where we're going to be talking about fantasy football. So we have a couple people from our fantasy football league, Hard and Fast. Is that what we called it? Pretty sure that's what I called it. Hard and Fast Fantasy Football League. So we've got
commissioner over here. Doesn't know the name of the league.
I deal with a lot. It's hard to keep track of everything.
Yeah.
So we've got, let's give it up for the person that won the worst award this year first.
Why are you giving me first? I'm Nick.
Yeah, you are Nick. And Nick is terrible. But we'll come back to how terrible he is. And then we've also got the guy who won the season's best award, having the best record for the season. Didn't win the championship.
The luckiest award as well, too.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely you.
But
You should have lost another 3 games. Like,
if you
it
go
could
by
have gone
points
either
4,
way. Was it 4?
No, if you go by like points for your team.
Oh, 4 and against, yeah.
I think I came in like 6th.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe 7th.
Yeah.
If he's losing 3 more, can I win 3 more?
I mean, it makes sense to me. I don't think that helps you very much.
It does.
It might help your pride.
Yes.
But yeah, so we decided last year to start a fantasy football league, although we have been talking about it for years because we all loved the league. I know you and I, Corey, finished the league and probably watched it multiple times. Nick, I don't think, has finished the league once yet.
I don't think so. There's probably a season that I didn't do.
Yeah, season or 2. And then Richard, I know, where we invited you to do fantasy football with us, and you were all gung-ho about it, and then we started talking about the league, and you have watched the league. And
yeah, I haven't, I've watched the show, like, when it was on live TV. I've never, watched it start to finish.
Yep.
But I actually want to. I wanted to go back and...
It's on Hulu.
Yeah, it's on Hulu.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's so good. I also own it.
Because what I've seen is absolutely hilarious.
Oh,
so I'd love to
so
sort of
funny.
follow
It is
the
so good.
timeline.
It's one of the reasons that I wanted to do it, because I knew, like, with our group of friends, and now with adding you into it, we're all a bunch of assholes that make fun of each other, that laugh about stupid stuff, that we don't take anything personally, unless you're Dylan, who quits once a year. But everybody else just laughs about stuff, and it's fun to kind of, like, depending on when somebody says something stupid or does something stupid or does a stupid trade, everybody gangs up on that person, mocks them relentlessly. It's then let go within a day or 2, and then there's something else to mock.
Are you going to talk about Dylan this whole time?
He did rage quit this year too, didn't he?
Yeah, but it was like...
For a few minutes.
It was like right at the beginning. He had Austin Eckler, and he's like, Austin Eckler's not doing great, and he was my number one pick.
Week 2, week 3,
it was
something
like 2
like that?
games into the season.
Unlike the first season where he rage quit over a
patience.
Trade thing.
Yeah.
I don't even remember now.
I also have no patience.
It was, we overrode a trade because both people wanted to cancel it.
You're right, because both people wanted to cancel it.
And then he had a trade go through with...
Dean.
No. I think it was because Dean didn't have his back on it. It wasn't with Dean, though.
Oh, okay.
And then
but it was... The trade was him and Dean to begin with, and then they both agreed to cancel it.
Yeah.
And then he did another trade with the guy that's no longer in the league, and I can't remember his name, Joe.
Yeah.
And then he wanted to cancel it, but Joe didn't, and Dean didn't vote for him to do it.
Yeah.
Can I ask?
That's what it was.
Who the fuck is Joe?
Joe is the other guy from the league last year that ended up like coming in 5th or 6th place, but he only joined for 1 year. He is one of Phil's friends because we needed a 12th person last year.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we, for the most part, you've met most of the people that are in the league, with you being from out of state, and now you're just coming up for the Super Bowl.
Except
Tom Lee.
Tom Lee.
Yeah, but we go to work. I mean, we work with him. So you haven't met Tom Lee. You haven't met Phil yet, but we keep trying to invite Phil to poker. And then obviously, Richard. And then I don't. You haven't met Tiffany, but I don't know if she's going to be in next year because she's not a fan. So let's actually talk about fantasy football for a second. So in our league, it's a 12-man league. Lot of fun. And then this year we implemented punishments for the loser. And it's been met with some people having issues with it. It's met with some people loving the idea, like myself. And our punishment this year is super lame that we'll have to do with Nick's car later. Probably tomorrow.
Oh, that's you have to do the punishment?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he got the tea bag.
Oh, I wish we could actually see that all year. It's
Yeah,
in Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
Right?
That's true.
It might be better though. So just know that he's down there in Pennsylvania
Well,
having to drive around.
We
with
need
that.
picture proof
Last
at least
night-
once
Yeah.
a month.
Last I heard,
once
I'm
a
not
month.
taking it off.
He's too lazy for that. Like, let's
Right.
be clear. Once it's on there, it might never come off.
You screw that bitch on, it's not coming out.
unless Nick changed his mind again, he might be moving up here still. Or...
It's
really?
always changes his
Did you
damn
change
I
mind.
do always change my mind, but I'm still trying.
Okay.
But he also, as he drives up here, he goes, fuck, why is it snowing? I hate snow.
yeah,
That is accurate.
because it doesn't snow in Pennsylvania.
It does, and then it goes away like
yeah.
the next day.
We had a half an inch maybe a month ago. And that
yeah,
was
but
it.
that's what's in your pants. We're talking about the snow.
Boo, boo,
Same
bad
thing.
joke.
Both?
Boo.
He laughed. That's all I care about.
That's because Richard's nice.
That's not the Richard
I'm
I
gonna
know.
call you on your bullshit.
Some call me a
You
dick.
had so many like good options to go with. You're just fucking weak.
What was the other option? You give me one. Go ahead. And the crowd goes
well,
silent.
you said it was in his pants. You should. He said I had a half inch in Pennsylvania. Should have said, well, that was just I don't want to.
Well, that was terrible. I should have said, "What's his name?"
Yes,
inch.
there you go.
You had a half inch in Pennsylvania. What
It
was
should
his
have
name?
been it's in your pants because he'd still have it now. It doesn't make any sense.
He still does have it now.
Yeah, it's still in there.
I mean, he is on the casting couch. He can probably check. It's fine.
Yeah.
Um,
I know. I realized 2 seconds after that you said check, but I swear I thought you said Jack, and I was like, no.
He's
It's
on the
not
couch.
really the casting couch.
All right. So for our league, we have, like I said, we have 12 people, and then we have how many weeks? It's 17 weeks.
It's 14 regular season, 3 playoff.
Yeah, so 17 weeks
yeah.
total. For anybody who doesn't do fantasy football, you draft from the entire NFL roster of offensive players, and then you could also draft a specific defense, and everybody takes turns drafting. And this year,
Well,
we
that's how
ended
we
up,
do it. I mean, you could draft individual.
I'm talking about us. Screw everybody else.
Well,
It's
you
our
s-
podcast.
You
Yeah,
said
fuck
anyone
that.
who's never played fantasy football.
Right,
this
they
is
need
how
to do it
works.
our way because our way is the best way.
Okay, Hitler.
So yeah, we did a live draft this year. It was actually a lot of fun. It took longer than I thought it would, but
It was
not
awesome.
in a bad way. It just, when I looked at the clock when we started, then I looked at the end and I was just like, oh, like 3.5 hours have gone by. Okay. And we really didn't draft that many like players. I mean, we do, but you're only yourself drafting what, 15?
9 and 6. Yeah,
15 people, yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't sound like it should take that long, but when you do 15 times 12, it adds up quite a bit.
Yeah. This is the first time I did a live draft.
Yeah.
I've been doing fantasy football for 12, maybe 13 years. This is the
Does
first
that mean you were
time.
doing fantasy football while the league was on?
Most likely, yeah.
Probably,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
doing it in high school. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Absolutely.
he definitely, yeah.
You were
Yeah.
doing it in high school?
Yeah. So
Dude, how old are you?
Definitely.
Are we so much older than him?
We're older.
I
think
graduated in 2011. So
Fuck!
5 years older.
That's
yeah.
older.
He's 29 then?
It's 30.
29. Yeah.
You're about to turn 30.
Yeah.
KJ, we are old.
I know, but when I look at Richard, I assume he's relatively the same.
I look
Clearly, I'm wrong. When I was just looking at it, when I see Richard, I think us.
That's just my mentality too. Anytime I see somebody, especially if they're even a little taller than me, I'm like, oh, they must be older than me because I'm still a kid.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm the old one. I'm supposed to be the mature one.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. We're never going to be mature.
Yeah.
Like, that's gone out the window so many times. Especially
but-
when you get us all in a room.
Right. No,
Like-
but the live aspect of the draft was awesome.
Yeah.
It was just so much better.
I liked having the board too. Like
Yes.
having that board was
Being
really
able to
cool to
see
be able
it.
to see every name and then watch everybody makes picks. So
You're welcome.
Fuck you. You did nothing. Our first year we
so
did
easy to piss him off.
the electronic draft where everybody was just on their computer and only me, Corey, and I think Dean.
Dean, yeah.
Yeah, we're doing we did a
Well,
Skype type call with
Was Nick not on the Skype call thing?
it. No, Nick was.
Or Dylan, maybe? I thought there was
was not.
somebody
I
else.
thought it was just three of us.
Maybe it was.
And Nick was basically like, all right, I need to get done this draft because I got to go to work and I need to go to sleep
Yes.
because I have to be to work in 3 hours. Will you guys hurry up and make your draft picks?
yeah.
So our draft this time was a lot easier than that because it was on a day where there was no work. And I think your vacation was right then too.
I still did not come prepared whatsoever.
I know.
It was much harder to draft with it live.
Yep.
Maybe just because I'm not used to doing it that way. But
well, you don't have that list in front of you too of who's still
players,
available.
Exactly, the players aren't.
Dude, I loved that because everybody had their little notepads.
That was great. Everybody's just crossing off names, and then I remember somebody, not the one where you screwed me by taking
Josh Jacobs.
You
know how many times I've heard about this?
So fucking many. Fuck this kid. But there's just so many times where people like, oh, who was that pick? Oh, and then they gotta cross it off. Or I'll take this person. Now they were taken last round.
Mm-hmm.
Like just something like that where it's not a big moment, but I loved that type of stuff.
Right. Because you feel the defeat in their face and their voice. They're like, oh no. I was banking
or the
on
anger.
This person. Right.
Well, the anger. Pure anger.
Why didn't you draft Josh Jacobs?
I know, I should have drafted him early because I took a flyer on Kyle Pitts and screwed myself.
Was it really a flyer? Because I thought he was projected to be like
he was supposed to be the third best tight end.
So I don't think it was really a flyer.
It was a flyer in the sense of I didn't have to draft. I probably could have got him later.
He would have gone pretty quick. I think.
No, you couldn't have got him later, but you should have.
No, I shouldn't have gotten him at all.
Right.
I should just let him stay away.
He was going to be off the board if you didn't get him.
Well, but didn't you take him because he did really good for you last year?
I didn't have him last year.
I thought you said...
No, I didn't have Kyle Pitts last year. I just knew that he did... I wanted Jacobs because he did really good for me last year after I traded for him.
So who got Jacobs again?
Yeah, fucking Corey. But Corey came in fourth this year. He didn't even make any money.
I had the most points in regular season.
That don't mean nothing.
It means that I deserved to be in the playoffs and you didn't with your third highest point total.
I was in fourth place going into the playoffs.
On your record, I'm not arguing. I'm saying
but
the actual
points for. Jesus, wow, you were
really low.
Third to last.
I put up...
Meanwhile, all year he's saying how lucky other people are.
I put up my points. I put up 90. I think my average was 98.7 points or something like that every week. If you don't count the last few weeks of playoffs where my team did amazing until the last
That's what I'm saying. You got very lucky.
No, I'm consistent. It's everybody else who got unlucky. I'm just consistently putting up my numbers.
When you win, when the numbers aren't really favorable, it's because other people are unlucky. But when I was winning, it was me being lucky.
It absolutely was. You won,
even though I put up the most points
by
in the season.
0.3 points. You beat Dean by 0.3 points because.
But it's not like I had
the 80. Denver Broncos decided. You guys only had 92 points.
When I beat Dean, we both were over 100. You're thinking of a different one when I was playing probably Phil.
Either way, yes, No, you destroyed Phil.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know who it was, but with Dean, we both had 116 point something.
I don't know, but 116. But yes, you beat him by 0.3, and you had one last game, and it was Russell Wilson, and they had 30 seconds left, and they needed a touchdown, and they need a touchdown and a field goal, and they have time to get a first down, and they go, no, let's go for a 62-yard field goal. Let's just go for the field goal now.
That's true. I was very lucky, so I would have ended the season with the number one record too, but Brady, whose team did nothing all year, decided in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left.
I think
to make one of the most miraculous
Monday Night
comebacks.
Football too, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you had the number one seed locked up. It was almost like guaranteed.
It was insane. I had 4 weeks left. I was like, I just got to at least win one of them, and I'm playing some teams I should win, and then nothing. And if Cooper Kupp just had been okay for the season, it would have made up for Uncle Lenny sucking dick all season.
Most likely. Well, although what's-his-face did get hurt too, Stafford.
It didn't matter. If you give Cooper Kupp somebody who can at least throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage, he will still get me a shit ton of points. The guy, they did it. Matt Stafford is not exactly great anymore. He had some good seasons, and now he's kind of mediocre.
I don't know about mediocre.
He's a Hall of Famer.
He's not. He will be a Hall of Famer.
Well, that's what I mean.
So, I mean, Ben Roethlisberger was a very good quarterback. That last season with him, I would not say he was good.
Yeah, the last 3 or 4 seasons with him, I wouldn't say that. But Matt Stafford just won a Super Bowl and then had one bad season. I think we got a little ways to go before we necessarily go.
Even
he's
the
not
Super
elite.
Bowl season he won, I would not say that he was an amazing quarterback.
That's pretty crazy to think.
Yeah, I think you're very wrong.
You think he was in the top 4 quarterbacks last season?
I think he was in the top 5. But
there's not a chance. You can literally look at his numbers of interceptions
last year. Right? Didn't he had some MVP votes?
He did have some MVP votes. He didn't win. That was Aaron Rodgers.
Of course, but he had some votes. He was.
Think about the quarterbacks last year, and honestly, tell me he's in the top 4 conversation.
Last year he was.
Okay.
You have Mahomes. You have Burrow.
Yeah.
You have Aaron Rodgers. And you have Stafford.
Stafford is in there.
So you're just going to skip
give me another one.
Josh Allen.
That's why I said top 5.
Yeah.
There's some room for
I gave myself a wiggle room.
There's some room for error.
You're honestly going to tell me, too, that you would rather have him over Lamar Jackson?
Last year? This year, yes.
Poopy butt Lamar? Both. Yeah. The guy can't stay on the field.
Yeah, he gets hurt a lot.
Okay.
He's got diarrhea every other week. He can't play.
Who was that during the season that...
Lamar.
No. It wasn't Lamar.
Oh, that shit.
Where they carted him off. Was it somebody? DK Metcalf. That's right.
Everyone thought he had like a leg injury.
Yeah. No, he just had to take a shit.
Yeah, he just...
I mean, you could even make the case that Russell Wilson was better last year, but God, this year...
I mean, that doesn't take any... A blind person was better last year compared to Russell Wilson this year.
Oh, no, I'm saying Russell Wilson last year better than Matt Stafford last year.
Oh, no.
He was playing at high caliber last year. I don't know what happened.
He wasn't playing at high caliber last year.
I think
he got hurt last year. That's why Geno had to come in last year.
True, but when he was playing.
Cooper Kupp.
No, because if that was the case, he would have way more points last year because he had both DK and Lockett.
Well, I mean,
he did nothing.
You run both.
And then they both did great this year.
Yes, they did both do great this year.
Yeah, that's funny.
This is what you were hoping for last year.
Exactly.
Yeah, didn't work out for you. It happens. So I want to talk to you guys about the longevity of the league. I feel like we're all having enough fun where I can't foresee anybody. Like, I know some people will leave and go. Like, I think Escape Room Tom is leaving after this year just because he doesn't feel like he has enough time to contribute as much. And we've already got a replacement in Eric that's taking over. So we're going to have that where people leave and other people go. But what do you guys think for yourselves longevity-wise? Is this something that you guys see you're doing potentially every year until we die? I mean, you, Richard, you're already done it 12 years. I don't foresee you stopping for some random reason. Yeah,
no,
I could see like a lot of people having a mass exodus to a new league because you've gone crazy with power as commissioner.
Well, I've been in a lot of leagues, and you are, I'm not to blow up your head, but you are by far
Don't
the
do
best
it. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Scream it loud.
I'm in
loud.
This year, I'm in another league that the commissioner every year has just made me question, why am I doing this? It's so bad. He organizes things as what,
But you also got to keep in mind, there's a checks and balance system with him where Dean and I are always telling him, like, no, you can't just unilaterally make these decisions.
The fuck have you told me no about? I don't listen to you about anything. Dean, on the other hand, I will because he's also very similar to you, been doing it for years.
We've had arguments about what I think you should and shouldn't be allowed to do, and then you usually cave and find some middle ground. You're like, well,
that's
I'm going to do it.
That's a discussion.
Yeah, but there are things where you were like, this is what we're going to do because I'm the commissioner. I'm like, no, we should vote on this. And we ended up voting on it, so I'll give you credit. But it was a fucking slippery slope.
The issue is that we're going to have that conversation and that vote. What the commissioners say, it goes.
Yeah, well, no.
I guarantee you if KJ does something and everybody gets pissed off,
I will easily back down and switch it up. The whole point of the league is to have fun, but at a certain point, boom, this is what we're doing. You're going to have somebody with the hand on the throttle, hand on the throat, so that you move to the next thing.
And I wish it wasn't you.
So Bill told me, it was funny, and he's right. Bill told me that, so I'm fine with all that, KJ. And I was like, okay. And he's like, give it to somebody else. And I was like, I mean, yeah. Like
Dean.
It would probably be Dean.
I honestly think...
But I don't think Dean has enough time to do everything.
Dean is capable of separating out how he feels about, like, I think you have a hard time and you're gonna say no I don't, but
already thinking it, boys.
If there's a decision that would impact me versus a decision that would impact like Richard or somebody else,
you can't point to one example. You just
I
feel that
absolutely
way.
Can.
No, you can't.
The kicker situation last year. If I came to you and were like, I got locked out of being able to put in a kicker, you would have told me tough shit. That's
no, I would
rule.
not have. I would have done exactly what I did, which is I went to Dean and been like, hey, this happened. What do you think?
Okay, I fundamentally disagree with you.
That doesn't mean that you're right.
It doesn't mean that you're right.
Of course it does. I'm the one explaining what I would do.
At least he didn't take all of the prize pool money, invest it into crypto, and lose half of it.
Ooh, no.
He could have done much worse.
So I do one of two things. Most of the time, if I get the money, I don't like even having it anywhere, like even in a bank, because I don't want to be like, I spent it, and be like, shit. I literally have that shit locked away and put someplace, and then whenever we get closer to the end of the season, I'll usually end up having to deposit it so that then I can make payouts.
Yeah, not all commissioners do that.
I know, which I don't understand for a lot of people, because I'd rather... The whole point, at least for me, is to have fun. That's why I've spent as much money as I have on like trophies and things like that, just because I think it's fun. I think it's fun to do.
Yeah.
Everybody seems to enjoy it and have a good time. And that was kind of like the point behind this, to have the camaraderie with a bunch of, I don't even want to say guys, because now we got Tiffany, and she's basically like a guy giving us all shit too.
Chicks with dicks.
You've had no bad experiences with commissioners. You can't appreciate a good one when you see it.
I'm good one. Do you hear that?
I'm telling you.
That shit, that's going to be the clip that's posted Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The same clip the whole time.
There you go. There's your bad experience with the commissioner. I can't fucking take a compliment without making a huge thing
I've had some
about
really bad ones. Like at
you
the end of the year,
you want to know my experience with KJ? He'll edit these podcasts and he'll be wrong about things. And all of a sudden that spiel of him finding out he was wrong goes from 10 minutes to 5 seconds where he's just like, yeah, I think you're right. he just completely cuts it out. And then the one time if I say like, yeah, I guess I was wrong, it becomes a viral clip, or not viral, but it becomes a clip on TikTok for our fan, Nick.
Hell yeah.
But like, oh God.
That's hilarious.
I fucking hate
him. Take some initiative. You can edit the podcast. Have at it.
Nah.
Yeah, exactly. But all right. So, what do you? I know you made the joke about the mass exodus thing, but do you see yourself like potentially always doing fantasy football until like, I don't know, you die, so to speak?
No, I don't see doing it when I'm 68 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
I definitely will be.
See, I definitely will be too. I can't see a reason not to.
I don't think
I'm still going to watch football.
Dude, when I retire, I will not talk to you ever again. I won't talk to my kids or my wife. I'm just going to go live on an island. No. Yeah, I mean, maybe I will, but it's also like, I don't know. It's like so hard to say because I look at how much has changed in the last 20 years. And then,
of football, you mean? Or just in life?
Just technology and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like, when I'm 65, 70 years old, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. Like,
sure.
Maybe I'll be a computer.
Let's say that everything stayed like it is today.
Yeah.
Which some stuff will, but you're right. 100% things will change. I'm very curious if like everybody gets an Oculus eventually or something like an Oculus and doing the draft like that sometimes too.
Like
where you
we're
can
actually at the NFL draft.
Yes, and can see like all of, I want you.
Awesome.
Well, that'd be bad.
The players we choose virtually walk on stage.
I will buy you for $40. That doesn't really come across very well.
We create our own team jersey. They hold up the jersey.
Yeah, see, that'd be good.
We should just do that next, this coming season. We can do a little mock thing where we go up and with the first pick, Cup and TDs chooses.
Well, we can do. We can rent out the Fairfield Community Center.
Yeah, that's true.
It's $25 for an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's true.
So we rent it for like 3 hours for $40. That's pretty big space.
The more ideal way to draft, which I don't think maybe we could, but to do the same thing we did, but everyone have a laptop and still draft online, but also put it on the board too. That way you could almost research it easier and see
I saw
who's
like a couple people trying to do that. Like you were doing it for a while.
In the same room.
I think Dean was doing it, but I think at a certain point, some of the people that brought their laptops kind of gave up on that.
Right, but I'm saying if we draft online, you know what I mean?
If we were going to do that, I wouldn't want to, like, I still want a physical board. But if we were going to do that, I would just have the board projected. Like, take a projector and air it on the screen and put it up on the wall or something.
Is that what you're buying
I disagree, though.
A projector?
Yeah.
Dude, that's all I do is buy shit for the league because it's fun.
I loved slapping the names up on the board.
Yeah.
Like, I did
There's
like
something
that.
tactile.
Now, granted,
and...
if I had to physically do manual work to get what's on the board into the computer afterwards, I would agree with you, but KJ did it all, so I don't have
me
to
and
do
Nick,
it.
we literally got home that night. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he stood there and he was reading me the team.
Notice
so
I had no idea that you helped, and he just took
I
all
never
the credit.
said that.
I'm just kidding.
We had to do it because the next day we were going camping, so we had to get it done so that because football started like 2 days after the draft.
But we're all that like housekeeping stuff is taken care of for us like that. I do like the live board. I just think it's cool.
Yeah,
I think next year we
absolutely.
should do it outside.
Well, one, we got to do it earlier.
Yeah.
Like that was a big issue. Like we didn't start the draft until what, 3?
Yeah, we got to do the draft order events earlier.
I wish that everybody lived closer, including you and like even Dean's from OOB. Just because it'd be so much easier to have a day where we do the events to decide the draft and then a different day for the draft.
Right, I agree. And maybe like do it at a bar too.
Well, we were thinking about last year doing it in a restaurant bar type setting and renting out like a banquet type area so we can get food and do it. But it just ended up being easier for a lot of people, and then everybody complained about stuff. Where you didn't complain about needing to go and after work go to a dinner thing.
Oh, I said I don't like the idea of doing but that wasn't because of me. That was because a lot of people couldn't do certain days, so it was going to have to end up being like the Tuesday or something after work.
Well, we were only in the office Tuesdays and Wednesdays, so it was going to be a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
I know, but that's what I mean. It's just weird because we wanted to do the draft the weekend before, so we either had to do it really early when you still don't know everything, or we had to do it after. That was the bigger issue I had.
That's the other issue with the draft, because you don't want to do it too early because of what's going on in the preseason. If someone gets hurt and you've already drafted, then what do you do?
Right.
No one's going to agree to a redraft. Especially like if it's your first pick and you pick a Jonathan Taylor so if you end up drafting somebody in the preseason that gets injured, nobody's going to want to go back, redraft. It just doesn't make any sense. So trying to pick the timing of when to do the draft via when the regular season starts, and then trying to base it around 11 people's schedule and my own, not very easy. Not very easy at all to try to get that situated. So yeah,
usually the last week of preseason, no one important plays. So you basically have like a 2-week window, maybe 3.
You definitely don't have a 3-week window. They do preseason and then the next week is regular season.
But the last week, sometimes the last 2 weeks of the preseason, no one.
Isn't the preseason only 3 weeks long?
So
because didn't we take away a game because
4.
now we?
Oh, you're right. Now
it used to be 4, but I think we took away one because now there's 17 games.
Yeah, but once they did that, no one plays preseason now. I mean, it's pretty rare that starters.
Well, so last year, like nobody played preseason. They made a big deal about it,
right?
And then, especially like Aaron Rodgers in the first game last year, where he did terrible.
Right,
Nick, good job dropping him.
You're welcome.
I heard about that. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, he didn't. It was his first year playing, so he didn't know that he could have.
Nick dropped Aaron Rodgers last season.
Oh my!
Who got him? Who picked him up?
I don't know.
Was it a good move? I think it was a good bid too.
I rage quit. Okay,
he did rage quit.
I was mad.
Was he a good player last year? I can't remember.
I'm surprised that he wasn't on the no drop list though.
Why?
Well, to begin the season,
they only look at the top 25 players, and at the beginning of last season, he would not be on the top 25 list.
The beginning of not this season that we're in now.
Last season
he scored like 5.
Yeah, we went over that and you looked
points.
it up.
Yeah.
I knew he wasn't on it, but I thought he was like, because then last year he won MVP.
You got to keep in mind that of that 25 list, they look at the best 5 running backs, the best 5 wide, like they're.
Is it actually 5 of each spot?
No, it's not 5. But what I mean is they look at what is that ranking called? Average draft placement or something like. It's basically a statistic that says where they go in drafts overall.
But that goes away. Like people can drop off that list and add to the list.
Of course they can. But
week
what I'm saying,
if Christian McCaffrey gets hurt, they're going to let you drop him.
Right.
Yes.
If Aaron Rodgers scores 5 points, they're going to let you drop him.
Yeah, but preseason, it's going to be based off where they're going, what their average draft ranking.
Well, if that's the case, then like no quarterback should be in the top. At all, because most of the time quarterbacks don't go until the 3rd, 4th,
I don't
5th.
think there were quarterbacks in
Mahomes.
that list. He might have been, but yeah.
Maybe even Josh Allen.
Well, I don't know if he was preseason, I guess what I'm saying.
Mahomes was. At least
I don't remember.
Last year, because I had Mahomes, and it doesn't let you drop. Okay. Like, it has a little lock on him.
Yeah, so then maybe he was then, yeah. I know they changed that list as the season goes. But.
Yeah. So what about you, Nick? Something you see yourself doing for years and years and years, or does it depend on how bad you are?
No, I can be bad
Hopefully
for a while.
not,
And I'm fine.
You could be bad for a while.
Just put me down for like 18 years.
Okay. We at least got to fill up all the trophy sides. I mean, the
What's that,
perpetual
22?
trophies, 24, but 22 more.
Yeah.
So total
down
of
for
24
22.
seasons. Yeah, it's 22
Just get
more
your
years.
name on every trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's his goal.
A
get them all.
dynasty.
Rings. Right?
Yeah. Well, his name's on 2 of them right now. He's got last year he got the shittiest, which now Phil has, and then this year he got the teabag. So that's 2 down.
Year 1, 3 wins. Year 2, 4 wins.
You're on your way.
Get the bad ones out of the way now.
Yep.
It's
That's
only
what I'm
up
doing.
from here, right?
I honestly was more frustrated by the fact that I needed one more win to be 11-3, which would have been better. Last year I was 10-4, and because I didn't get it, I ended 10-4 again. So I didn't improve at all. I basically just was stagnant.
but
For the
even at
regular
10-4,
season.
you should have been number 1 seed.
Yeah.
You should have been.
Yeah.
Me being 11-3, you look at my schedule. There was a 4-week stretch from week 6 to week 9. I won
Hang
4
on
games
1
in a
second,
row.
Richard. For all the listeners out there, which is not going to be Nick, because Nick's during this, or is part of this episode, Richard brought notes, and he is completely
notes.
like
I got notes,
going
yeah.
off of those notes, talking about his season. He came prepared.
Well, there was 4 weeks in particular that I remembered. I was like, I got to look this up, where I won a total of by 6.5 points total in 4 weeks.
Yep.
So I won by like 1.5, 2, like less than a point, 1.5 points.
The
4 weeks in a
funniest
row.
thing about that to me is I think 3 out of those 4, maybe even all 4, you were projected to lose,
Yes.
and your team had already stopped playing. Like
Yes.
all your players had played, and all they needed to do was just barely do their average of what they're supposed to do. And then every time they shit to bed.
Every single
And
one.
every single time, because they're like, oh, well, I'm easily going to beat Richard by like
Mm-hmm.
15 points. All my guy needs to do is put up 15 points.
Yeah.
And the guy put up like 1.
My team was so injured all season, and just for some reason, I just happened to get super lucky all those weeks. It was
Yep.
crazy.
I mean, it's the same with me with getting lucky. Even though, again, I think all my team did exactly what it's supposed to do baseline-wise, and then getting lucky in the sense of other people being unlucky on the specific weeks. Because I had a week, I think I played somebody where the week before, they put up 150 points. And then against me, they put up 80 or 90.
Right. The hangover.
Yeah, it's basically what it is. Like, you do so good one week, and then the next week you're doing nothing.
Right.
My team had 4 weeks to get 1 win, and I ended in number 1 record. And instead, I lost all 4, and then had a bye still. And then my first playoff game, I put 48 points or something.
did.
I was just like, well, fuck me, I guess. And you know what? You know what the turning point was? You're gonna be like, oh, that's stupid. Fucking, I angered the fantasy gods because Aaron Fodder tried to do a trade for me with Cooper Kupp, and my gut said do it because it will be hilarious when Cooper Kupp goes out or something, and I end up benefiting from this deal, and it's again what gives me the win, all because of a trade involving Cooper Kupp. And I didn't do it. Cooper Kupp got hurt, and I was the one eating shit.
Yeah.
And I think I would have gotten, didn't he have Diggs? I think I was going to end up with Diggs.
I thought that was
Oh,
after
no.
you already traded Diggs, but maybe it was
No,
before.
it was before. This was early season.
Okay.
Yeah. It was literally like, I think the same week that he traded him to me last year, which was like week 4.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I should have done it. It would have changed my whole season.
Yeah.
Because I could never recover on the wide receiver front. I didn't have good wide receivers.
Yeah, and it's also like one of those things where if you pick up somebody from the waiver wire, you're taking a chance. Like, I needed a running back, and I picked up McKinnon just because he was one of the only good ones left. And he was, at that time, really hadn't been doing anything. He's the 3rd running back for Kansas City. Hadn't been doing anything and then just went off. So when you're picking up from the waiver wire after, obviously, the draft is done, you're hoping that somebody shines and is a star. Like, if somebody would have picked up, what's his name, Watson for the
Christian
Green Bay?
Watson.
Yeah. If they would have picked him up before he started going off even, you're just literally praying that that's what happens, that they just have good games
I was
that can
stoked
show
I got
up.
Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a good
you
pickup.
definitely shouldn't have been. I'm very surprised that nobody, when he had either before or when
I
he had a
picked him
good
up
week.
before he hit the waiver.
Yeah, just could have easily picked him up and thrown him on there and just put him on your bench.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was very surprised to see him still there. But I think a lot of people, and they're kind of right if you look at like his last game that he had or last 2 games that he had.
Well, they didn't matter.
It didn't matter. I mean, none of their games mattered.
Well, that's not true. They weren't out of contention until the last 3 games.
Yeah, they were out of contention. They won like 3 games. They're out of contention.
They literally weren't until they lost. I think it was in our week 11, and then they were done.
Yes, meaning they were physically eliminated. But if they would have won, they still would have had to hope other teams lose.
No, that's not true.
I mean,
if they had won those 3 games in a row, they could have made playoffs.
Could have.
Of course, that's what I said. I said they weren't out yet, and you're like, yes, they were.
They were, because they had to rely on other people losing as well. All right, we reviewed the tape. Might have been a misunderstanding for what Corey meant and what he said and how it came off, but neither here nor there. We're moving on. So
I fucking hate you.
I think any of the listeners are very well aware of this.
Yeah.
Well,
I think any of the listeners probably hate you too.
How dare they?
Just from listening.
Back to fantasy football. How many trades did you guys make this year? Do you guys remember?
I made
total
3.
3 trades.
I made 4, but one of them was supposed to be like a 3-thing trade, and he didn't want to do 3 right away because we were waiting to see if somebody else got injured I got fucked because we agreed on a 3-for-3 trade, and then one of them might have been hurt, so we're like, all right, we'll hold off on that one, so I'll just trade you this one for this one for this one, and then as soon as we hear that he's okay, we'll trade this one for this one. Yup. Oh, I don't want to do that third one. Like, fuck you.
Didn't pass physicals.
It was annoying because I was like, the whole point was to do the 3-for-3, and it was what it was.
I think I only did 1. I tried to get so many going, but so many of them ended up involving Dylan, and it was just impossible to make a trade with Dylan.
Dude, every time I heard anybody talking about trades, you were always involved.
I tried to get involved.
Hundreds of different. Well, what do you think about this?
Yeah,
well, now I need to think about that.
Actually.
Well, what about this? Well, now I need to think about that.
I don't think anyone wanted to. I think, especially Dylan, but a lot of people, I think, were very cognizant of the fact they didn't want me to repeat a season win, and were like, no, that gives you too much bonus. I'm like, yeah, but you get this, and that's even better. Yeah, but you still get a little bit too much. Like, I want to give you this shitty player who gets half a point a week, and you give me Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only trade I feel like
it looks like you just did 1 trade.
Yeah, it was, I got Evan Ingram, and then I ended up dropping him because he was shitty.
What a great trade. If you would have held on to him, it would have been good.
Yeah, but he literally did nothing for 3 weeks for me, and I didn't want to drop anyone else off my bench, so I had to drop him, and I actually ended up picking up Juwan Johnson, which I wish I had just had him all year, but Bill had him for a while and then dropped him eventually.
And Nick had some interesting trades, to say the least.
Yeah, I'm looking at him right now.
Yeah.
You didn't have to bring that up.
Yeah, Knicks were painful.
I mean, the
Nick
first
and
one
Dylan
you had
both
was
had a lot of painful ones.
Kind of irrelevant. Chris Godwin for Khalil Herbert. I mean,
that's mine.
That wasn't me.
That's mine.
Oh wait,
yeah.
I do feel bad.
Trolltol, right?
Really...
No, he's not Trolltol. That's Phil.
Oh, what am I thinking?
Nick is. Are you emojis right now?
I don't know.
I don't remember what your team name is right now. Because you changed it.
What a Purdy sack trophy.
Oh, that's right. What a Purdy sack trophy. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he traded Kelsey.
Yeah. Dude, I tried to trade for Kelsey
some reason.
Too, and then
because he was the only person I had that had value.
I know. Well, that's not true. You had AJ Brown too, you fuck.
He was the only other person I had that had value.
Yeah, but you didn't even get a lot of value for him when you traded him, right?
Who? Which one?
Who?
Kelsey.
Yeah,
no, that's when I got Lamar and.
So, like, it's
Lamar Jackson.
Like, it's not a terrible trade at face value. How it turned out sucked. I wouldn't have done the trade, but how it turned out, definitely nobody would have done that trade because Lamar got hurt, and even when he didn't get hurt, he wasn't doing what he was doing because, like, 2 weeks before that, he put up 40, and the week before that, he put up 35.
Well, it's just he played weak run teams those weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't do shit for me for 2 weeks.
Richard, look at it, like,
We're giving you shit. Richard just, like, looks at it, his face gets away. Dylan, though, had the same.
He's not mad. He's disappointed.
Yeah, it was Jimmy G,
and Kelsey.
And Kelsey for Lamar Jackson, and Everett for a backup tight end, and I don't know if there was a third.
No, 2 for 2.
2 for 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was more or less Kelsey for
Lamar,
yeah.
I just, in this league, unless you're trading Travis Kelsey for number 1 wide receiver
or number 1 running back,
it would have to be more than that. Because you got to think of this too. You can find a wide receiver who could put up 14 points, and it might not put up 21 like Tyreek Hill, but you
no one even came
find
close.
a tight end who puts up the points Travis Kelce does.
Do you have are you looking at the app right now? You should look at the tight end top and look to see how many points below the next person is to Kelce.
Yeah, I'll look it up right
It's
now.
probably Mark Andrews, and he missed like 5 games.
No, I think Mark Andrews got passed by what's his face that's on that I had, Hawkinson. I think Andrews got passed.
So
by
Travis
Hawkinson.
Kelce's number 1 at 263. Number 2 is TJ Hawkinson's at 170.
No. KJ said his name's Tyler Hawkinson.
170. So that's 90.
That's almost 100 points.
It's 90 points. Dude.
91
so,
points.
Yeah, trading Kelce to me is a no-go.
You'll never see that margin between any other
spot. Yeah.
However, I will say when Andrews got hurt, like they weren't too far away from each other. Like it was still like a 20,
he finished
25
at 154
point.
and only played
11 games.
Doesn't show it right here,
I think
but
it
a lot
11.
less games.
Yeah, because he got hurt. But
and
he was still below Kelce.
He was still number 4. Yeah,
he was still below Kelce, but at least it was those two that were running rampant, and then nobody else. Like other tight ends, like if you take out Kelce, the next top 5 after Kelce didn't have bad seasons. It's just nobody is who Kelce is.
He's not really a tight end. He's a receiver who's big. He's a big boy receiver.
But he also blocks like a mofo too. Like he's really good at that stuff. He's also because he is so good, he's also a distraction. Every time he's out there, they're gonna think we're probably Kelce's gonna get it.
The crazy thing to me about Kelce and Mahomes is it's similar to like Gronk and Brady, I guess, but they'll be at the goal, in the red zone, and everybody knows it's going to go to Kelce. They're like, he's gonna throw it to Kelce. He's gonna run this route. They know what they're fucking going to do, and yet they still get touchdown after touchdown.
But he's still wide open. That's the thing.
He's really good.
With Brady and Gronk, Brady would throw it into triple coverage, and Gronk would just catch it somehow.
Because he's a giant gorilla, man.
Kelce just gets
his
open.
hands are
I don't understand.
Huge.
So
it's crazy.
If you take Lamar at his average was like, he was expected to put up like 25 each game.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he puts up 25 every game, and say Everett puts up 10. 8 to 10.
I don't know if you get 8 to 10.
So let's say 8. 8 is usually what you want from your
8 or
tight
10.
end. So he has 33.
I'd be gaining 10 on a quarterback and losing 5 on a tight end if Kelce were to get 15.
How are you only losing 5 on a tight end? Kelce was averaging 15 to 20.
But I think he started the
How
season
many
not
times?
as good as
He didn't get
finished it.
If we
didn't get 20 many
Well, let's
times.
put it this way. If we're giving Everett an average of 8, then we're giving
Okay, so
Kelce an
-7.
average of 17 at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think Everett's an average 8
Well,
tight
how many
end.
points did he have? What did you just say? 260 something? That Kelce had 263?
263, yep.
So, and that was
Divide by 14. Unless
18.
that factors. Yeah, 18 points.
18
an
on
average of
average.
18.
Yeah,
And,
so you have 10
Let's see.
less.
Well, what's Everett's? Look it up if you got it.
Yeah,
up.
he finished with 110 points.
He got
which
over
is
18
less
3
than-
times in the whole season.
Less than 10 points.
110 divided by 14. He averages 7.8, so about 8.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
right
we're
on the
almost
money.
dead on.
He got over 18 only 3 times.
Yeah, but because of the high ones, that's why I'm saying the average. And that's what you have to look at. Because he had some games where he had like 30.
There was 1 for 32, 1 for 19, 1 for 22.
Hey, I'm
That's
just
it.
telling you that if I take the total and I divide it by 14, it's 18.
So if Lamar put up what he was expected to, it would basically be a wash.
Well, Kelce would get 10
Within
more.
1 or 2 points.
Kelce would get 10 more than Everett.
Well, that's also why I didn't veto it. Because I was like, it's relatively
I agree.
I just never would trade. I trust Kelce more than I trust Lamar.
Was
but
Lamar,
when Lamar goes
projected to
off-
get 25 every week? That
Yes.
seems high to me.
It was 24, 25.
He was actually usually probably projected higher than that.
he
Because
said
I
he
always
had a
just thought he
great
was going to run.
First half. But then
Really?
he always gets injured, though.
Yeah.
and
Well, I
like
knew
did.
he had 2 really good games early, but I'm just surprised he was projected that high for the rest of the season. Because even Patrick Mahomes wasn't projected 25 every week.
Jalen was projected 27 every week.
Every week, he was
Every week.
no matter who they're playing.
Besides like one really good, like against, they didn't play San Fran. I'm trying to think of who they played that had a really good
They
defense.
played Dallas?
They did play Dallas
Yeah.
twice. Yeah.
He was The lowest projection is 21, the highest is 26 the whole season.
Yeah, see, I would have thought
it was mostly 24.
Oh, really? I would have thought he would be 22, 23 most of the time,
but still, my quarterback was about 16 average.
Well, yeah,
dude, if you're lucky,
15 or 16.
Dude, every time you picked a quarterback, it was the wrong quarterback.
Every time.
And then I still remember, so Nick and I are in Disney, or in Florida, and we're watching. He's like, I kind of want to have one of my guys play for a Thursday night game because we're watching it. And what's the fun of watching this game if not going to have a player?
I have the same.
And he's like, I guess I'll switch these players out. And then in the first quarter or first half, the guy goes off. Like, he doesn't put up massive points, but he put up 11, I think. And so if he would have doubled that, it would have had 22. That's great. That's way above projections. I think he was projected 12.
I'm pretty sure that was the first quarter he put that up in.
Something like that. And then he didn't get the ball again. They just stopped going to Hollins. Yeah. They just literally stopped going to him. And Nick, the first quarter, Nick was like, oh, this is amazing. This is great. And then just nope.
Yeah, he had 2 out of 3 catches, and they never used him again.
Yeah, it was awful. They even the commentators were talking about, what are they doing? Why aren't they giving it to him? Every time they throw him the ball, he was catching it and running after the catch. And so you make a lot of wrong decisions.
Every time I made a last minute decision, it was the wrong one.
Yeah,
that's
week.
All my incorrect decisions are always like last minute. I'm like, I'm gonna make this change, and then I fucking regret it immediately.
Well, and then
I don't even have to wait. It's just like in the first quarter, it's like, yeah, you were wrong, idiot.
Right, and then I'll think that, and then say, nope, I'm not touching it this time, and then he goes off.
Yep.
Every time.
We also have Dean, who almost every week this season, his player got hurt. We actually, which he'll be getting tomorrow, I made a special award for him, a little trophy that's called the Bugai R, because his last name is Bugai. So it's Bugai IR. Because every week, a person of his got hurt. Every single week. And
that was bad.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Literally the curse of Dean. Every time you pick somebody up, they're getting hurt. It was great.
He picked second, right?
He picked Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody was thinking that when he was with Carolina, because your first pick was McCaffrey.
Yeah.
When he was with Carolina, he was doing okay, but he wasn't going bonkers. Right. And then as soon as a trade to the Niners, dude, he just started going.
I actually thought about trading him once he got traded to the Niners.
I would have given you everything.
I don't know. Maybe I didn't reach out to you. I reached out to a few people asking what they would give for him.
You weren't alone either. I just actually saw an old TikTok video of him, Christian McCaffrey, reading somebody's Twitter comment that was, Christian McCaffrey getting traded to the 49ers has fucked my fantasy football season. And they were like, what do you think of this tweet? And he's like,
what if it means he got...
I think, fuck you guys.
Well, it could have also meant the other way. Like, he has one competition, and when he's just playing... like, if it's me, I could be tweeting that thinking... Oh, he's got Christian McCaffrey. He's on Carolina. He's not going to do that well. Oh, he went to the Niners. Fuck, Richard's going to run rampant over everybody.
I'm pretty
sure.
Could have
meant it. I'm 100% sure that's what he meant.
I had like in my head, they have Kittle, they have Samuel, they have Ayuk. It's going to be hard for him to score as many points when they have all these other.
Dude,
players.
They integrated him so well.
They did, but at the time.
I know. You don't know. You don't know.
It was kind of a question between everyone, so no one really was giving me value for him. So I just held on to him.
I would have.
I know.
I don't think we reached out to each other.
I didn't make one trade. I didn't make one trade the whole season.
The whole season?
And actually, I looked at my who I drafted. Out of the 15 players that I drafted, 9 of them were on my roster at the end of the season.
I want to say most of mine were on the roster at the end of the season.
And my entire starting lineup, minus the Patriots defense, I drafted. My entire starting lineup, which, normally doesn't happen.
Now, I want to give you credit for that, for then winning, but you have, as you mentioned, you have like 4 weeks where you won by 6 points total.
But in those 4 weeks, Christian McCaffrey got traded, and that week he barely played. Keenan Allen was hurt. James Conner was hurt during that time.
Conner.
I just had a lot of bad luck.
Yeah,
but
a lot of bad luck.
Well, but exactly.
First in the season.
But I still ended up winning by 1 or 2 points every single week. So.
So speaking of the 1 or 2 points thing, Aaron Fodder missed out on playoffs by 0.2 or 0.4 points.
Over you, right?
No, over Tiffany. It was him and Tiffany that were in 6th and 7th, and he lost out. Yeah, they have the exact same record, and it's like 0.2 points.
Oh, that's
separated him from getting into the playoffs.
I remember watching that game too. There was like a catch at the end.
Yeah, it was 0.2. Is crazy that we've had things that happen.
Did you factor in Tiffany only gets 70% of the points?
I did. We should have had Aaron in there.
Bad commissioner. Guess we got one of those liberal commissioners who believes in equality over here.
What did you guys think about how we changed up the field goal thing? Because obviously you weren't with us the first year, but the first year was just 3 points for the kicker for getting a 30-yarder, and then anything over 30 to 39 yards was 3 points. 40 to 41 is 4 points. 40 to 49, and then 50 and over is automatic 5 points. So it wasn't by the decimal like we did this year, and there was no negative. So I don't know about your other leagues. Do you guys do something different in all of them? Or?
We've never done the decimal, which I don't mind. Honestly, it doesn't really change too much, I think, either way.
I think it definitely can't. Well, I mean, it might have changed shit for Aaron. For Aaron, 0.2 points.
Right. Well, the minus for missed kicks made a bigger difference.
Yeah,
I think.
But I like
that.
I like that. Yeah, there was no penalty last year when we played for a kicker.
If the person you're playing has a kicker that missed a kick, they better lose points for that. If I'm watching the game and their kicker just missed a kick, it's like.
But my only concern is, let's say there's 1 second left on the clock, and I'm kicking a 65-yarder. It feels weird to take a point away for that for trying, but there's no way to be like, we won't count that one. You have to.
The way the cookie crumbles.
I know, but it just feels so weird. Like, if you think you're going into halftime, why are we going to throw up a Hail Mary? Might as well just try a kick.
On the other end of that, they go into halftime throwing up a Hail Mary 65-yarder, and he makes it.
Yeah. Boom. Or interception, then you get
automatic
minus
5 points that you weren't expecting, or 6.5 points, or however we're doing it.
6 for the touchdown.
So the other thing the other league I play in does is they give you 2 points for a PAT instead of 1.
For a point after.
Yeah.
You get 2 points?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about 2-point conversion.
Which I kind of like, actually.
Wait, PAT for 2 point. I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
It's a gimme.
Let me explain, though. So one of the things I like about it is it gives you a little bit more control over the kicker position. Because the kicker position is almost entirely luck. Because you could have a really good kicker, but if...
He had the best kicker, Justin Tucker.
Sure.
Who then 1 week fucking missed 3 field goals.
He missed 2 or 3 50-yarders.
But it's not even always about the kicker and how they perform.
It could
just be the team. Like, they're coming from behind. They
suck in the red
can't
zone.
do a field goal.
Right. Or even if you're not coming from behind and you just keep going out and scoring.
Yeah.
Like, there was tons of games where I think I had 4 points because
you had 4 PATs.
Yeah, that's it. But that's what it should be. You put up 1 point, you should get 1.
So, again, the reason I think that the 2 points for the PAT is kind of a neater way to do it is it gives you a little bit more control because you can be like, okay, I'm going to go for a kicker. He might not be the strongest kicker in the league who's going to put up a 60-yarder, but he's on a good team that he'll get some opportunities for PATs probably. And it gives you a little bit more control over the kicker position. Otherwise, I don't even know why we have a kicker position because it's just luck of the draw that week if they happen to.
Well, no, you want to find a kicker that's on a team that you think can't get into the end zone, basically.
Yeah, you basically want a team that can get to the red zone or right outside the red zone that can't punch it in.
I've always, for the past 3 years, I've picked Daniel Carlson from the Raiders because the Raiders seem to be.
And you took him right before.
The Raiders seem to be the team that can always get down the field and then just can't punch it in. But he's time and time again always gotten a lot of points for me.
That's like the perfect kicker is a very accurate kicker on a team that can't score.
Exactly.
Which is Justin Tucker. Mm-hmm. And what the fuck did that do for me?
Yeah.
Well, Justin Badgley for Detroit probably didn't put up what?
Justin Bag?
What is his first name?
Michael Bagley?
Badgley,
yeah. It's Michael.
Whatever. Fuck his first name.
That's who I had last year. That's why I know.
So he put up tons of PATs, but did not put up any real kicks because they were just scoring touchdowns nonstop. Yep. And yet, so that makes his value pretty shitty because at best...
So that's about, as Richard said, you have to pick a team that that can't punch it in. That's the point of picking that kicker. It's similar
if your kicker's constantly on the field and getting points, I just feel like you should get something more than 4 points for him kicking 4 PATs.
I don't agree because that kicker did absolutely nothing to score that 1 point.
Correct.
Their team scored the touchdown. They walked in.
Well, it's not a gimme. Look at Brett Mayer.
Oh my God!
Right. But at the same time, if Brett Mayer misses those 4 kicks, you should get minus 4 points.
Well, you
for
do.
Those.
Well,
right?
yeah,
you should.
Yeah, he
but
agrees
that's
with
the thing.
he agrees with the minus.
You get a -1 if it's missed, but you only get +1 if it's made. That's kind of the thing. I guess it's more because in the other league you get -1 if it's missed, but you get +2 if he makes it. So
it just feels weird to give an extra point for nothing.
Have you guys seen those leagues where they take the kickers and
-10,
-50?
Oh yes, you and I talked about that. We saw like a TikTok
change
thing.
The whole thing.
Literally,
if they
this
miss
guy
any kick.
They miss 1 kick, it's -50.
So
points.
no, I saw a point. The point at PAT is -50. I didn't see about any kick, but the PAT.
You're right.
And there was this guy on
you're
TikTok
right.
who
You're
was
right.
doing like a live stream.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What do I do, guys? You know what? He hasn't missed a kick and whatever.
Do I
but
bench him?
he's
Do I
already
not?
won the game,
Right.
though. You sit that kicker. I don't. If you're
Absolutely.
talking about a
Did he play Brett
-50,
Mayer?
no, it wasn't one of those. But it was a -50. Like, no, you sit that kicker. Why would you even take that chance?
Yeah, that's just dumb.
What is it going to give you? An extra few, like at the most, like what did the most our kicker get? One of our kickers got this year. I think it was
20,
Tom Lee
20,
was 20, like 26 or something like that. And it was crazy that he got that many points. But you got an extra 26 points. You already won. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make. No, you sit that -50.
If we had a vote to get rid of kickers, I would.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah,
honestly.
I don't think we're gonna get rid of kickers, but we can bring it up during like when we bring everybody together.
Yeah.
I like having kickers, but there was talk. Bill and I were talking, and there's no way to do it with the way the Yahoo thing works.
Oh,
But of combining like the kicker with special teams, so like that shouldn't be counted for the defense if the special teams like runs back a kick or does anything like that. It shouldn't be counted for that for the defense. It should be counted potentially as special teams, which includes the kicker.
So any kicker points goes under your defense, basically.
No. We're saying like it'd be a separate category of defense, and then instead of a kicker, special teams, which includes the kicker, includes the kickoff return, includes all of that.
But not like interception, return for touchdown.
That would be cool.
No, that would be defense. Right. Yeah, because that's not special
punt
teams.
returns, kick
Correct.
returns.
Can you
because they're special teams?
Can you have a full defense and still have a defensive single player?
I don't think so. I think at least
you can only do one or the other.
I think so, but again, we haven't looked too much into the defensive side of it, so I don't know. I haven't dove too far.
I've never done fantasy with the defensive players before. It's too confusing to me. I've just never.
Well, I think it's usually like you have so many spots or whatever, but you could just do like one defensive player, so you could do like JJ Watt or something like that.
You take Micah Parsons or Nick Bosa.
I was just literally saying JJ. A name.
No, take JJ.
He's not around.
I'll take the other one. This is fine. Yeah. Because he retired, right? Yeah. Go ahead, take him.
I literally just said he retired.
Did you say that? I thought he said it.
No, he said it.
Oh, all right.
He was implying to take him because of that. I said, I know he retired.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right. So for the league that we have, do you guys foresee a punishment in the future more than what we currently have, which is a license?
It definitely needs to be a
better punishment. Yeah. What about and my biggest thing is a lot of people are playing to not lose rather than play to win. There's only one person that's going to have to do a punishment. And in 2 years running, it was almost Nick. Nick's going to have to do one of them. But last year when we didn't have a punishment, Nick was in the running for it.
Don't you punish Nick enough when you guys are alone?
Dude, I punish you all enough just by being your friend.
I'm more embarrassed by
being
telling
your own
people
life
what our punishment is.
Oh, right?
Rather than doing
I agree.
There we go.
Any of the
that's even better.
No, it's not.
It's better.
No,
dude, we had so many fun ones. The calendar one is just hilarious to me.
Right.
The sitting in a diner for 24 hours, or if you eat something, you're allowed to leave a little bit earlier, like depending on how much you eat of it.
I like challenges like that. There's a podcast I listened to, part of my take, where they had a football challenge, and the losers had to go to a bowling alley, and in order to leave, they have to bowl a perfect 300. But every hot dog they eat takes off 10 pins off their score.
Dude, I'd be eating every fucking hot dog in the world.
But it takes like 15, 16 hot dogs to get your score down to like 140, 150. Just to...
I could do that in like 10 minutes. We got this.
Yeah, that's no big deal.
You say that.
Give me all the wieners. I got them.
You'd be at the bowling alley for like 6-7 hours.
Yeah.
No, you got to eat them in your mouth, KJ.
Yeah.
That's a whole other thing.
Oh, dang.
But something where, it's like a timed punishment, but you can, if you do something, you can earn time.
See, I wouldn't mind that. I think some of the ones that I was less confident about are like the calendar shoot one.
Photo shoots, yeah. That lasts forever.
I know some people would do it. I don't think others would, and I don't know what you would expect to do to them. Like, what are we gonna do? Fucking cut off their hand because they're not gonna do it?
They'd just be disqualified.
Maybe we just have like 3 or 4 choices.
See, I don't want to do that
lose,
though,
you get to choose.
because we don't. It's not like we have a plethora of.
I can find more people if I need to.
I know, but I don't want you to find more people just for the sake of finding more people when we have perfectly good.
Well, they're not perfectly good if they're not going to live up to the punishment.
That's my point. If I'd rather keep the people we have. And if they don't want to do a certain punishment, then let's just not do that punishment.
That just makes you a bitch.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I don't want to do a punishment. It's the whole fucking point of having a punishment is that you're not supposed to want to do it.
Sure, but there's some that might cross a line for some.
That's why we voted on some, but hopefully we get to the point.
And you are complaining about that vote.
Yes, because almost all of them but 2 got vetoed, and the 2 that didn't are bullshit shit.
Like, I saw one on TikTok where they had to purposely get a DUI.
Yep.
That one's too far.
I mean,
taking that's probably too far. Another one where
probably too far.
Their friends got to pick a location and they had to get on a plane and go somewhere for a week.
Also, that's just not doable for a lot of people.
That's
those are the
we can find a much
extreme
more.
These sound like great punishments if you're single and have no respect in the community.
Oh no, they had families.
But
or
like
have you seen
their
the ones
punishment
like the guys
is...
have to go to a restaurant with a blow up doll and like
yeah.
have dinner.
I mean that wouldn't be that bad.
The fuck you wouldn't? You said no to sitting at a diner for 24 hours.
That's because you had to eat a lot of pancakes.
Well, I can't. I literally can't just sit at a diner for 24 hours.
Why?
I have 3 kids.
You have a mom
they
and
like
friends
pancakes,
that
right?
I will gladly go watch your kids for 24 hours to make you
like
sit at a damn restaurant.
Right? What kids don't like pancakes?
Right?
Oh, yeah,
They could come there for breakfast and dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's put it this way. I think the reason I was more against that one is I don't even remember that one being one of the bigger ones I had a problem with.
It wasn't that you had a big problem with it. You just put no on the list.
Oh, well, yeah, you give me an option. I'm like, I'd rather not do that.
I think the bigger issue is the DUI is one extreme and a pink license plate is the other extreme.
Yeah, we need the middle fun stuff.
I agree the license plate was very non-challenging, but the thing I like about it is it's a thing that we can add on now every season. So
that is our plan.
Yeah,
because now the license plate will go to every loser from now on, as long as Nick doesn't lose it. Then.
Richard's like, I veto.
So every challenge you have to add on.
Yeah.
So all that means is
depending on what it is.
10 years from now, you're gonna have to sit in a diner for a day with a license plate in your car,
with a blow up doll.
Dude, all it really means is that once a year, Nick will have to retighten the screws on the license plate.
I'll just put some Loctite
on. Lost again.
Maybe we can put a little notch in every year.
Might as well just weld it.
We should make the person get a vanity plate, so their actual license
plate is that's amazing.
Oh, see, that would be a good one.
Yeah,
it costs $20.
Yeah, and you just pay for it for the 1 year.
See, I think that would be a good one. We could do too, like the first person to be on like the loser trophy 2 or 3 times or something.
Yeah, and Bill and I were talking about wanting to do something for the person that loses the regular season as well. Yeah. Like that has the worst for the regular season.
Maybe that should be like the license plate.
Potentially, or we also thought about like having a wheel of punishments, but like lesser punishments than the teabag, because the teabag is the worst one. That's the one that should have more severe punishments.
Which is just weird to me. I get it because they lost the playoff run.
Yep.
But at the same time, the person who sucked for the whole season is treated better than the person who lost the playoff.
Well, he won the season and then he didn't win the championship.
I understand that. And I'm not saying it's wrong because there's the playoff champion. I'm just saying from a loser perspective, isn't it worse to literally be the crappiest for 14 weeks?
If that was the case,
got unlucky for a couple of games.
Nick had to pull himself out last year by winning one game.
I did,
and you barely did, even though you only put up like either I want to say like 81 points.
That's all
but
I
you
needed,
played
bitch.
Dylan, who only decided, I'll just put up 72 points. To keep himself out of the teabag. So it gives them the ability.
I get it, but in my mind, Nick lost last season hand over fist, and this season he didn't lose. He was in second to last.
I agree, though. I think the loser of the season
is worse. Yeah.
Should be worse.
Yeah.
I think if the punishment was not as extreme as a DUI, but like something like
we're definitely never doing that. Just for the record,
let's just say the 24 hours.
Maybe you have to contract herpes. No,
right? But maybe if it was
what?
like the 24 hours in a diner, maybe you would have had more motivation to not come in last. Like maybe you would have done a few more transactions at the end to get you over
that.
The
problem is your motivation.
well, to be fair, after he got to a certain point of losing, he did lose motivation.
Yeah, that's
right.
Absolutely.
You almost like accept it. It's just a license plate, whatever. But if it's like, I really don't want to spend 24 hours in this diner, and all I need is one more win, I'm going to do everything I can to get that one win.
But also points wise, I wasn't in last until like the last 4 weeks, I think, when I had that really bad game of 40 points.
Yeah.
Then it just flipped.
That hurt.
And then I was gone.
I really, in my mind, don't think of you as having lost this season. Last season, 100%, in my mind, I think you lost. This season, I don't. I think Phil lost this season.
Well,
because he lost more games.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had less points. He lost more games. Like in my
he had less.
No,
points.
I had less points.
Oh. Well, then maybe you're tied.
That's what I'm saying. I wasn't in last points-wise until the last 4 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But mostly just because of that 40-point game.
But
Because that's very easy for anybody to get above.
Yeah, that really took you out.
It's just, it's weird because it's like, okay, my team was the worst for 14 weeks or my team was the worst for 2 weeks.
And it's crazy because I only had like 150 below you. I had 1,200, you had 1,350 or so. And you were way the fuck up there.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's just
I
crazy.
just kept putting up consistent points, and everybody around me just didn't.
And so I've seen some fantasy leagues where they don't even have head-to-head matchups each week.
Yep.
It's just you collect
total.
You collect points each week, and whoever has the most points. I don't like that.
So I've also seen something similar to that just for playoffs, though, where they let everybody into the playoffs, and the first week of playoffs is just about the score. So
what's the point of the regular season?
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. I've just seen it happen. That's right.
KJ,
What's the
I don't
point
like
of the
your
regular
idea.
season?
We shouldn't do that.
I like the way ours is current. Like we've seen to tweak
ours is
things
great.
every year to make things better. Like we didn't have the decimal points for the field goals. I
honestly think most of the things I think we need to implement for next year, I don't really want to even make changes, really. It's just some ground rules. I'm going to call Nick out right quick, but the dropping your players during the playoff thing, he then picked up somebody.
Who was it?
Gardner Minshew.
Yeah. So it had an impact, and you were already out. So I don't think we should be allowed to drop playoffs.
It didn't. Like it could have had an impact.
It could have. Yes.
Let's say that.
Yeah.
It didn't.
Yeah.
I lost.
Yeah, he did terrible, didn't he?
Yeah, he did terrible.
Teams should be locked.
I told him
just
it was
lock
going to
it
be
or
karma.
just not.
But I have the ability to do that, but we got to vote on it and whatever else.
But
like as soon as we get to playoffs, I can lock. But also, like, what if you did want to drop a player that you didn't have because you wanted somebody else?
There could be
He was out of the playoffs.
No, he still had one more game, I think.
No, he didn't.
No,
he was out.
I was out when I just started dropping people.
That's why that's what.
Oh yeah, because you lost in the teabag. That's right.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter.
There's no reason to do what I did. I just felt like dropping people.
I don't blame you. You had a rough season. I'm not even blaming you. I'm blaming Dickhead because he took advantage of it immediately.
But like,
How dare I?
If he had money in the waiver wire,
yeah,
It's
I
just
threw
greasy.
every money that I did.
And the thing I think, well, like I think it was Bill and Dean had the biggest, or one of them brought it up to me. I don't remember which one, but
Probably Bill.
Probably. Although Dean brought it up too, though.
You just said one or the other, and then I say one, and you're like, no, this one.
Somebody
did.
brought it to my attention first. I just don't know
Fucking
which one. But regardless, it would have actually been funny if he won because we would have made him put an asterisk next to it, and then I would have called.
You would have
asterisk.
made me put an asterisk on the trophy plate that I bought.
I would.
Good luck with
I
that.
would come over here with a chisel and chisel that shit. And then at the bottom, in little text, it would say, "You're a fucking bitch." Seek.
Yeah. All right. So, do you have any other notes you want to share? Because we're about to get towards wrapping this thing up. No, you're good with it?
I don't think so. It was a great season, I think. We shouldn't change much other than like, finding a new punishment, I think.
Yeah, new punishment. We're also looking at potentially doing weekly payouts.
Yes,
so increasing the amount of money.
In my other league. So you do $10 per, so it was like $140 extra, or you can do whatever amount.
Yeah, so I think I have it broken out for how much. Like I think the buy-in, instead of 50, it's going to go to 100, and then we're going to pay out every week, excluding playoffs, for like the weekly highest score, and I think it pays out like $25 or $30 is how I figured it out.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And that basically means if you can win a couple weeks, you've almost got your
your
buy-in back.
Right.
And then it also gives somebody the incentive to try, and it puts more stakes for that week, especially like, let's say you've got two people that are playing each other, but it's not you, but you have the highest score right now, but they have the chance to beat it. Puts more stakes to watch their players play.
Yeah. In my other league, I had a situation where I can't remember the exact points, but I was like 8 points behind the highest score for the week. And I had just my defense playing, but I was also winning by like only a point. So it's like, well, what if my defense gets -2? Yeah. But I also have a chance to get highest points this week and can win, $140, whatever it is. So you have to, it kind of makes the decisions.
Yep.
So I like having that as an aspect.
Yep.
I also kind of think that you should, I go back and forth on it, but I feel like you should have to play every position.
You mean not sit some? I mean, I don't think we had anybody this year.
Well, that's part of managing your team.
Yeah, that's what I agree with too. I think you should be able to.
I go back and forth.
How does
that
give you an advantage to bench a player?
My point is like, so let's say in that situation you're only ahead by a point, then you just bench him before the game, and then you guarantee yourself a win.
Right.
Which I understand. Why don't you let me finish?
Yeah.
I understand the principle behind it, but at the same time, think about like any actual sports game. You can't just play the game and like fucking pull out your pitcher because you're ahead.
Yeah, they do.
Yes, you can.
You can pull out your pitcher in baseball.
Well, you start. You
How's that game go?
You bench all your starters.
They have their other. Yeah.
You
bench your starters.
Yeah, but you have to have somebody in the position.
You have to put somebody in though.
Yeah, but it's. I mean.
That's our version of pulling out your star players.
You have to put a pitcher in.
I understand, but you have to, in your active roster, you have to have every position filled, right?
But that's not a requirement. You manage your team so
He's
well
saying
that you're
he
up so
wants
high.
it to be a requirement in the future.
Oh, yeah. I understand it's not a rule now, and I honestly can see both sides of it. I just think it's almost like your roster wasn't set then, or it wasn't a
official
complete roster if you don't.
But the issue is that it is complete, and then I benched him.
Yeah.
Right.
So
because the team did so good,
right?
You manage your team so well.
I get
you
it.
have a
I just think
I know we could
could
talk about it, like, because we're gonna vote on about the veto or the trade veto, because I don't think we should. Like, if two people make a trade, that should be the trade.
There should be a veto system because there could be some,
collusion type thing.
Absolutely.
But that's why it should go to the commissioner, whether that's me or whether that's Dean. And then if they clearly see the collusion, or if it's someone like Nick trading a kicker for Kelsey or something.
But what if the collusion?
That's an issue.
What if the commissioner is part of the collusion? Which
so that's why there's
leagues.
two of us. Like, so it's me or Dean.
Okay.
So if I'm involved,
what
it
if
should be
you
Dean.
and Dean are trading together?
I haven't traded with Dean, but yes, if that's the case, then everybody else should be involved.
See, I think when you get to a point where you have to have a stipulation for all these things,
it's 3 stipulations.
Okay, but my point is, I think the system works fine as it is. It takes, 2 days for people to vote?
Well, so that's the other thing. Right now, we have it set, if 3 people veto...
It should be more people.
Yeah,
yes, I agree with that.
Yes.
It should be, so there's 12,
it should be half.
12. It should be...
At least 6.
Well,
no, because 2 of the people are in the trade. So then it's 5. So it should be 5.
So it should have to be 6.
It should
is the majority.
have to be 5 because 2 of the people are involved.
I understand. So 6 would be a majority. Otherwise, it's 5 and 5, so it's even.
Yeah, but you also have to keep in mind it's 5 and 5 in a league where a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but 3 people aren't super active in reviewing these things.
So they're not active in the chat, right. But Tom Leach super active.
I was pretty active in it, and I sometimes wouldn't see a trade until after it was already processed.
Well, it means you're not very active.
I was pretty active.
You get a notification and you get an email that says, "Hey, there's a trade. Go review this shit."
I think I changed just.
And I also don't know if I would say
for other people's transactions.
I don't know if I'd say Tom Lee was crazy active because I would send him trade requests and then he'd like weeks later he'd be like, "Hey, I just got the email about this trade request," and I'd be like, "Well, I canceled it because you weren't responding." So if that's crazy active,
he's crazy active. He won. No, I think crazy active.
5's decent because if you were trading with Nick, then it could still be like me, Richard, Bill,
but
Dean,
it shouldn't be
Dylan.
Your thought process of there's people that aren't active in the league. That should have nothing to do with majority. Like if you're doing anything, well, these people aren't active. That's irrelevant to a majority.
Well, it does in the sense that if 3 people aren't even are just abstaining from all votes basically by not participating, yet you're still counting them towards a majority. Then we have an issue where every trade won't get vetoed.
Well, for me, if I'm
don't think any trade should get vetoed.
But that's what you want. That's what I'm saying.
Vetoed,
I don't
it's
want
an absurd
that.
trade. And if it's an absurd trade and one person is vetoing it, it shouldn't take 6 people to have to veto it. If it's absurd, then and if 5 people agree that's absurd, it shouldn't take any more than
But if it's 5 on 5 and those other 5 say
but it's not like the other 5 are saying this is a great trade. They're just not looking at it.
And 2 of those 5 are the thinking. No, but 2
right? There's no way unless we did an actual hey, send me a message.
Yes or no. But if we get 5 no's and 3 yeses, then the majority
Here's
wins.
an idea.
But that's still not the majority. I know what you're saying. The majority of people that voted, that's the majority.
Right.
But that's still not the majority of people.
But you can't count the people that aren't paying attention to the trade. Like
I agree with that. That's why one of the reasons why we're trying to get other more active people.
Can we change the system somehow so like everybody votes yes or no on the trade?
Right.
So instead of because right now you're basically counting if they didn't veto it means that they weren't against it. No, you can't do that.
You can't do it in the thing. But what
we could do it outside of it.
Yeah, we could do it we have the Facebook Messenger thing. We could do a poll.
Yeah. I almost feel like that would be because then it is a majority.
That would take forever.
But that would be a majority.
That would take for so many we'd have so many fucking polls.
Well, I think what you would do.
But then you just once it's approved in the Facebook poll, you just put the trade in and it's completed.
My point is at one point there was 6 trades at the same time.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, that's a pain in the ass.
All right, let's say a trade has 1 veto.
Well, to be fair, we also didn't know how many vetoes. Not that it took to cancel the trade. You don't know how many vetoes anything has at one point. Yeah, no. There's nothing in the Yahoo thing that just shows 1 veto or no veto.
Here's an idea: leave it like it is, and then if you feel like it was vetoed improperly, then you can escalate it to a Facebook poll.
I agree, because if 3 or 4 people agree that it's an absurd trade, it should then be looked at by the whole league.
Yeah, and then that way we get weigh-in from everyone in the league before we make a final decision.
Exactly. I agree, because
they're
very
decent
uncommon.
Thoughts,
it's very
but we'll
uncommon.
talk about it with the entire league and come up with a plan.
But that makes the most sense, because it's very uncommon that something gets vetoed, and when it does, it's usually absurd. So
our trade wasn't absurd, and it got vetoed.
Nick voted for the veto.
That's because he felt peer pressure from you fucking people.
I did. I felt
only
bad
3 people
about that
vetoed
too,
it, right?
Because
3 people vetoed.
All right, so if 3 people would have voted it, we could have then brought it to the group chat and say, okay, out of the 10 other people, how many people are actually vetoing this? And if it was still only 3, we could have been like, all right, let's just push this through. You know what I mean?
It's not a bad thought.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the things that I'll write down because I have a list of things I want to talk about, changes for the potential season.
Because you could easily just have one person pissed off about it and then just go convince 2 other people to veto it. It's very easy.
I did. I mean, I honestly thought I was doing it for Nick, and then Najee Harris never got better. I was like, Najee Harris is going to get better, and you're going to regret getting rid of him, and he just didn't.
To be fair, I think both of you at one point reached out to me trying to convince me to vote on something.
That was about, I think,
the other
about
person.
The punishments, so.
I can't remember exactly.
Because there was one of the things I was trying to convince you.
The punishments. I was.
Oh, yes.
We were talking about it.
Yes.
And you bitched out. You bitched out. You wanted harsher punishments, and then you bitched out. You didn't switch your vote.
Ooh, he's calling you out.
Remember.
Yeah, I fucking remember.
The last person that talked to me convinced me, whichever one of you.
I talked to you a minute before, and he talked to you the minute of.
I think everybody
better
has
at
Corey.
being a commissioner. You gotta know how to make a deal.
I feel like everybody.
What deal did you make? That sounds like collusion.
No, I mean I convinced him.
You said a deal.
Yeah. Okay.
What deal?
Now
Look,
I get 5%
I don't know what
of everything he
happened.
makes.
All I know is I did what I had to do.
We got a license plate. Woo.
That's between me and my therapist. What I had to do.
All right, let's get to closing thoughts for this thing. Nick, what are your closing thoughts about fantasy football?
You're putting me on the spot here.
Yeah.
I had a great time.
Did you, though?
It ruined my Sundays because usually about 15 minutes into the first game, I know what's going to happen, and it pisses me off, and I don't watch that game anymore. And then I start doing something else and sometimes don't watch the next game and the next game because it pisses me off. But the weeks that I win,
you're all about it.
I enjoy that week. So yeah, I had 3 fun weeks this year, or 4 fun weeks. But no, it was fun. I wouldn't change anything.
I do enjoy.
I think you changed some stuff.
Nah,
change the draft maybe.
I do enjoy some of like the Facebook calls we had while we were watching games.
Oh, those are fun. Yeah, just literally watching the only issue is hopefully it switches next year with YouTube TV, where we're all watching the same game, but we're all different timed.
Yeah.
So you're a few minutes ahead or a few seconds ahead, or mostly I was the one ahead to begin with. And then Nick and I started having calls and then he was suddenly ahead. It was very annoying.
I just hate having to stream.
Gets all the
obviously YouTube TV will be you mean illegally stream, which we would never do. But
yes,
you mean that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we would.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's all supposed to be on YouTube TV next year, so that'll be good. I'm very
all
happy.
of it?
All of it except for the local games.
The Red Zone.
Red Zone's going away, like
Zone?
Whatever it's called.
What's the one where all the games are on?
That's what I'm talking about. That's YouTube TV now.
Yeah. Exactly,
so the NFL Sports NFL Sunday Ticket.
That's
is going away from DirecTV and has been bought by YouTube.
Yeah, I'm excited
so you're able
to
just stream it all now.
Yeah, and you can
except for the local games.
Like the Thursday night game on that, or will that be
Amazon?
No,
that's still going to be Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah, because Amazon just signed like a 5 or 10 year deal with them, paying them an ungodly amount of money for just Thursday games. Yeah. And then everything else will be on there, but Monday night games, Sunday night games, and like the local games will still be on the local channel. So that's like Peacock, that's ESPN, and then that's the other Fox.
You know, you can actually there's apps on Oculus that you can go in and we can sit in like the same room together and watch.
Yeah, him and I were actually just doing that with a movie theater and looking at things. Yeah,
I've done it with UFC fights with a buddy of mine.
Yep.
We watched the UFC fight the other day.
Yeah,
we tried. You guys did end up logging in.
You guys just go in a virtual dark theater and ravage
you just join the chat room and you're sitting there with your friends.
Yeah, and there's usually someone streaming. If there's a popular, a game on or a fight or something, there's somebody streaming.
So you have an Oculus Rift too?
Is it a Rift? I'm not sure.
Oh,
Oculus.
Quest.
Quest.
Wasn't it originally called Oculus Rift?
I think the Rift is the one that plugs into the computer. Maybe.
Oh, okay.
This is just like an Oculus Quest.
Yeah, it's just Oculus 2.
Regardless, you
Rift
have one then?
Yeah.
Okay, because they have one too, and I think I'm going to buy one when I get my first commission check.
But yeah, we've been playing, and it's a lot of fun. And
it's great.
Definitely need to, we could do something. And poker-wise sometimes, too.
I play online poker on it all the time. Yeah. It's great.
I think that would be fun.
Yeah, they have poker tournaments.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So we'll definitely look at that.
It's discontinued.
The Rift?
Yeah.
Okay. Was it an Oculus or just called Rift?
It's by Oculus, and it's black, so I don't know what the difference is.
I think
it's black and it got discontinued.
I think I had an Oculus Rift, and it was the thing you put your cell phone in.
That's on an Oculus, though.
That's pretty sure it was.
That's about the whatchamacalled.
Pretty sure I had an Oculus Rift.
It's on Oculus, because Oculus is Facebook. You had the... Damn it.
Oculus was bought by Facebook.
It's called something.
Now it is.
That might have been the Oculus One, and they called it the Rift or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No. He's talking about the one before even like the full Oculus came out.
Pretty sure I have the box.
I know what you're talking about.
Rift.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
But it wasn't an Oculus.
No.
I mean, I think the box had Oculus.
Oh, for fuck's sake. You never played
Well, actually, wait. Maybe OCULUS? Is that Oculus? Because that's what's on the fucking box.
You done?
No, I got a couple more in me.
All right, give your final thoughts for I was going to say Final Fantasy. For fantasy football.
I liked Final Fantasy 2. That was my favorite one. But, all right, as the only champion in this room. I can say I've enjoyed both seasons.
Cut his mic.
You ain't gonna tell me twice.
No, but no, I've had fun with it. I didn't like how the season ended. I like how 90% of it went. But
you're also one of the only people that from the league, I think, that didn't really watch football until fantasy football.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think I would now either.
Like if we stopped playing fantasy football, you wouldn't watch
the playoffs, and that's about it.
Yeah.
I just don't really care unless I'm beating my friends. No, that's not true. If I'm just beating people I don't like.
Yeah. And what about you, Richard? Final thoughts, fantasy football?
This league in particular was my favorite of the three that I've been
You're
in.
welcome.
Stop it.
I mean,
seriously. Dude.
Well, the live draft, the competition to figure out the draft order.
Oh, the competition was a lot of fun. The football, the throwing competition, the kicking competition.
It was great.
The fuck did you do?
Oh, I fucking helped with that shit. You can't take the credit for that.
Hold on, you forgot to thank me.
You're welcome.
Because without being on bottom, you couldn't be on top.
That's true.
That's true. That is true. And there was a few people that we were sitting next to each other in the draft, and we were going back and forth. And I can't remember who it was, but you picked him up instead of me, and I'm so glad you did. Because I can't remember who it was, but they.
I remember. I don't remember who.
They ended up being really bad.
Najee. And then you and I talked about this because you were like, "I picked up this guy." Richard was so mad, and he did fucking nothing.
And I picked up Miles Sanders instead.
Yeah,
and he ended up being.
He did a real good year.
Yeah, pretty good for me. So
yeah,
I appreciate.
I can't remember who it was. Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
I would like to thank the Bill and Deans who have been playing fantasy football forever, and yet make it so easy for a newcomer to just crush them.
Yeah, Bill has not made the playoffs both seasons.
Yeah.
Bill won 8 games straight or 7 games straight the first year and then lost 7 games straight right after that. Oof. And then this year he again finishes in 7th place total after the playoffs, and just like he did last year. And then Dean barely made it into playoffs this year and then lost immediately.
Also, we forgot to acknowledge the fact that third place should have an asterisk next to it, even though, I did come in third place, but the third place game, Gabe Davis stopped playing. He might not have
also say, then I need an asterisk for the first place thing.
There's no way you would have come back.
You wouldn't have made a comeback.
How dare you? He scored a touchdown in the first 3 minutes. He already had 8 points in the first 3 minutes.
Wasn't even close.
It absolutely was considerably close.
But Gabe Davis, 14 points away.
Yeah, I actually, and in that game, I think it could have happened because you got.
It was a high scoring game. It
was going to be a shootout.
Game. Exactly.
Yeah. I was pissed, but it is.
All he needed was one touchdown, really, because he probably would have had 3 catches, 40, 50 yards.
But I also think for what that game was, I think it was very easy for Corey and I both to concede and just be like, yeah.
Well, easier for you.
I no, mine's actually for a championship.
I just think that should be noted. The third place wasn't 100%.
I'll say this. As a champion, if you're not going to win, who really cares anyway?
Well, I made money. He made money. You didn't make money.
Well, as somebody with more disposable income than you do, it doesn't really matter to me that much.
How's your wife not working going?
Tax returns going to cancel it out, so we're all good.
All right, so my final thoughts. I'm loving the league. It's why we set it up. I love having you guys to just shoot the shit with. There is not a lot better than on some of the games where everybody is on the chat and we're all just talking about the games. Did you see that play? Holy shit.
There was one. Sometimes I agree. I got to mute it because it's like 12 o'clock at night and they're still going and I'm trying to go to sleep.
Sure.
Ding, ding,
but
ding.
there was that one game last year where Tom had, it was Tom versus Aaron, Tom Leet versus Aaron, and he had like the Patriot defense or something, and their defense went ham and had like 35 points. And we were all in the chat just laughing. It was the one where you even said, oh, they're bringing in their next third string quarterback. Watch, it's going to be a pick 6. And then immediately it was a pick 6.
That happened this year. I can't remember who it was with, but I literally said, was it Kyler Murray got hurt? And I predicted it.
Yes.
But I was kidding.
Right before the game started.
Well, that's what you were kidding in the other one, too.
I know, but this was insane because I was like, oh, look, Kyler's down. I was like, I'm just kidding. But wouldn't that be funny if I would win then? And then immediately Kyler Murray got hurt.
KJ did not give you credit for that. One of those two. Remember, I told you he said that in the chat, and you're like, he's bullshitting. He said that after he got hurt. And so I went down to the minute.
Kyler thing.
It was like
that
1
was
minute
definitely before.
I don't even remember what he's talking about, but I know it's about Kyler, not about the other one.
It was minutes before.
Yeah.
It was like 1 minute.
Within a minute or two.
Yeah, it was like
crazy.
two plays after.
Because I thought it was after the fact.
I wish I had been able to post it that. If I could post in the past that way, then that would be amazing. I'd make so much money.
And I don't think if you would have saw him get injured, he'd been like, I hope he gets injured.
Right. Well, I mean, he's kind of a cunt.
Pot calling kettle black.
You being a cunt have nothing to do with me also clearly being a cunt.
But you're a bigger one.
Also, not up for debate. That doesn't have nothing to do with you being one.
That's fair.
All right. So yeah, love the league. I'm glad that we started it. I'm glad that everybody seems to be having fun with it. I'm glad that we, even if there are some disagreements about one thing or the other, we seem to come together as, I don't want to call it a team, but everybody wants to have fun with it. So, okay, what's the best solution for everybody? Here it is. Let's do it. And then we try to set a precedent for things for the future. Like there's one where somebody didn't move their person that was on IR. So we let that one go. Oh, there goes the eye roll from Corey. We let that one go, but now everybody knows for the future you can't do this because it was our first year in the league, whatever. So, but I feel like the majority, everybody like voted or had an opinion on that, and then we moved forward. And I like that about the league. I like that we have fun, and I like that we do stupid shit and make each other laugh. Like, to me, that's the best thing that we could have with this. Like, I don't want that. I've talked to a couple friends that play leagues where everybody is very business like in the league, where it's all about, oh, I did this and I win, so give me my money and that's the end of it. No, I want to hear Corey shit talk for being in first. I want to hear everybody give Nick shit for being in last. I want to hear everybody give me shit for coming second twice in a row, and apparently I'm never going to win the goddamn trophy that I bought. You know, I'm fine with all these. How bad would that be?
You never get your name on it.
I'm telling you.
After like 3 or 4 years.
After 24 years, because there are 24 plates, I will break that motherfucker.
And to think, if you had just not started Dalvin Cook, who you picked up in that greasy trade last year,
how is it greasy? No, we don't have time.
You trade rape somebody who wasn't involved in the whole season.
That's going to end up being like the curse of Bambino. You'll never win the championship, and you'll just look back.
I'll just be in second place every year. Fine.
I'm 100% convinced that there is a fantasy god, and his wrath is immediate when you've displeased him. KJ displeased him last year, and he was
trying to trade with him.
Huh?
Everybody was trying to trade with him.
Yes, but you're the one who went through, and therefore you get the wrath.
And nobody vetoed it.
It also was the selective reaching out to him when he was playing teams that you needed to lose.
No, I reached out to him every week.
So you say.
I sent you screenshots.
Let's put it this way. The effort of those reach outs might have been higher in certain weeks than other weeks.
I literally just had a message on Teams that said, hey, go set your lineup.
Just one every week.
Hey, that's part of being a fantasy football manager, dude.
Yeah, right?
I get it.
Not only manager, but commissioner.
Yeah.
I get it. I get why he did it. It doesn't make it not greasy.
KJ, who would you say is your favorite commissioner?
Myself.
Okay, that's what I figured.
I'm pretty great. But I love having Dean's knowledge from all the other leagues that he's been in, because if I don't know something and he helped me set up the league to begin with, like all the yes this, no this, like half PPR and do we want to allow this? I like half PPR because
I like the full PPR.
See, I don't, because you could get like 20 catches for 0 yards and still get 20 points. I don't think you should, just because you caught a fucking ball 1 yard past the line of scrimmage.
I'd like to see you try to get your ball 1 yard.
I can catch. We played football.
I'd
We're
like
about
to
play
see
football
you run
again.
10
From
yards.
a professional quarterback. No. I had nothing about running. I talked
all
about
your
catching.
catches would be from the 0 yard line
for a wide receiver.
And you get no yards.
They sometimes can only, let's say they get 10 targets. 10 targets a game is a lot for a wide receiver. So if you have a mid-level wide receiver, if he gets like 3 catches for 60 yards, 9 points is a lot better than 6.5 points.
I agree, but that's 6.5 is what he deserves.
True.
I want to give more credit for running that ball. I want to give more credit for that than just catching it.
But his title is receiver.
Yep.
So he should
maybe
get something
we can
for
find some middle ground between half and full point, like 3/5 compromise or something.
No, it's either half or full.
Awful.
But
I think it should be full.
It will change how I draft next year, because I am used to full PPR.
Yep.
And I think Well, it probably benefited me, but I drafted Chris McCaffrey just based on thinking it was full PPR. If I would have known it was
for half PPR, he still crushed it.
Absolutely, but I
you
might
also
have
got passing yards from him, so you're
welcome. That's true. He threw a touchdown.
True. Yeah. But I might have gone Jonathan Taylor just for the fact of it's only half.
You're thanking your lucky stars you didn't go for Jonathan Taylor.
Right.
All I know is I'm just glad I got Josh Jacobs because
I fucking hate him. That's where we're gonna end this fucking podcast. I hate him so much.
Hate you too, bud.
Cunning stunts will be on top again.
Oh God, listen to you. All right, yeah. So next week, I'm not sure we're doing either. Ant-Man, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Either Ant-Man or something else. So we'll figure it out.
All right.